welcome to the Album Man. And today I am finally back from my nearly 2-month hiatus. My exams are now over, so I thought something that's been requested quite a few times. This is a review of the Dio tribute album, This Is Your Life. So This Is Your Life, of course, celebrates the life of Ronnie James Dio, who in my opinion is the greatest singer to ever grace rock or metal or any genre of music. I'm a massive Dio fan. He's my second favourite artist, with Guns N' Roses being my favourite. And I love all eras of his work, really. I think the Rainbow era, particularly the Rising and Long Live Rock and Roll albums, are two of the pinnacles of rock music, then Heaven and Hell being just the greatest metal album I've ever had the pleasure of listening to. And then you have Mob Rules, the underrated but still wonderful of a Sabbath album, and of course his solo career, starting off with a bang with Holy Diver, surely one of the greatest debut albums I think ever. But now, unfortunately, in 2010 was it? I think 2010, Dio unfortunately died, and of course, you know, left a huge void in the rock and metal rap world, and was greatly sad. So a bunch of famous artists have come together to celebrate his life, maybe bring some of the songs to a new generation, also raise some money for charity. All the proceeds from this album go to the Stand Up and Shout Cancer Fund, which was set up, I think by Wendy Dio, Dio's wife, to help people with, you know, what Dio had. So this is an album that I can't say I've really been anticipating. Now I love my Dio, I really do. But the thing is, one of the things I like most about Dio, I don't know if it's just me, but one of the things I like most about Dio is his voice. You know, that's a pretty big element of the music with Dio on it is his voice, since he's a vocalist. So a bunch of Dio songs without Dio, it's like, yay, Dio without Dio, how wonderful. And this is certainly an album, I know some people were looking forward to this, and there are certainly some expectations for this album. But mine, I can't say my take, well, I'm in two minds. On one hand, I am positive towards the aims of this album. I cannot fault the aims, trying to celebrate the work of Dio, introduce some new fans of some of these bands who maybe don't know of Dio and his work, and also raising money for the Stand Up and Shout Fund. I can't fault that in the slightest. But we're not here to talk about the aims. We're here to talk about the music itself, whether these covers of the songs are good, whether they add something new, maybe they're even better than the original. Well, let's take a look for it. We'll start with the first track. Why not? The first track's a good place to start. So Anthrax give us a rendition of Neon Nights. This, of course, is from the Heaven and Hell album. Now, this is a pretty hard track to do anything else with. I mean, this is the opening track for, in my opinion, the greatest metal album of all time. So expectations are high. I love Anthrax. Anthrax are a wonderful band. Saw them live supporting Motörhead a few years back, and they were great. But this cover of Neon Nights, well, it's like their covers EP they did actually last year. Yeah, it was last year. That basically, the covers were well performed, but they didn't add anything new, pretty much. And here we have the same thing. Basically, this sounds exactly the same, but without Dio. They basically haven't changed anything. This is a pointless waste of time that's just so obviously inferior to the original. And yeah, I mean, what does it add? Okay, you might say, well, the solo. The guitar solo at the end, it's pretty much note for note at a time, and then the ending does differ, I'll give you that. The ending does differ, and that's kind of cool. But is this really cool enough for me to actually listen to the song instead of the version that has, you know, Dio and Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler and Bill Ward on it? No, it is not. I would just rather listen to that version. I'm not hating on Anthrax, I really do like the band, but to me this just came across as quite a lazy cover. This just felt dialed in, by the numbers, Neon Nights. Of course, that's no bad thing, it's a wonderful song, but I don't see why I'd ever listen to it again, and let's just say there's going to be a motif throughout this review. Tenacious D, Last in Line. Oh, what a great track for them to pick out to say. Last in Line, I think definitely one of the underrated classics of Dio's catalog. Not to say, I mean, many fans appreciate it as a classic, but it's not one of the more obvious songs, and I applaud them for that. Now, I've said many times before how I find Tenacious Dio personally to be a load of crap, except for Best Song in the World, or whatever, best song ever, something like that, great song. You know what I mean from Pick a Destiny. That's okay. The problem is I dislike Jack Black. I don't like his voice, I don't like his acting, I don't think he's funny, and he kind of annoys me. Yeah. But still, I have to applaud their effort here. And while at first I was looking at it, I was thinking, oh, Tenacious Dio, what the hell have they got them? Well, I mean, Tenacious Dio did actually know Dio, so fair dues to them for being on this album. And I have to say, considering how I dislike the band, at least they change up the arrangement a bit, so it opens with an acoustic guitar instead of an electric one. Okay, you know, that's not too big a difference. But the really interesting one is that Tenacious Dio actually put a flute solo into it. I have to say, I never imagined Last in Line with a flute solo. Now, I don't think this works as well as, well, the guitar solo in the original, but it's an interesting idea. I give them props for doing something different. Again, the main problem with this song, like in Anthrax, was that there's still no Dio on vocals. Yeah, that's another recurring motif, I'm afraid. But still, this is definitely better than Anthrax's lazy attempt, and one of the better covers on the album, as much as it pains me greatly to say that. Adrenaline Mob Rules. Now, this sounds awfully familiar. I wonder why. Could it be that this was released on the 2013 commemorating EP? That sounds about right, yeah. But that was in 2013, wasn't it? But I could have sworn I had a Mob Rules version by a Mike Portnoy band before then. Ah, it was also on their debut EP. Do we need this song to be released 30 million fucking times? It's a decent cover. I mean, yeah, it's a powerful drum performance by Portnoy, and the solos from Mike Orlando differ enough to provide a different take on the song. It's a strong cover of the song. It changes the song a little bit, mixes it up, gives it a bit of a fresh perspective. But do we need to hear it a million times? Couldn't Adrenaline Mob have recorded, I don't know, something new? Or I'm sure they covered another Dio song on the covered EP. That one we could have had. I'm sick of hearing their version of Mob Rules. Yeah, it's a decent song. I heard it many bloody times before. Next. Stone Sour with the Steel Panther guitars performing Rainbow in the Dark. Oh, I'm so excited. Did anyone actually want this? Like, I want to actually wonder who has ever said, oh, you know what, I'd like to hear a Rainbow in the Dark with a Coy Taylor and who on guitar? Shit, Vivian Campbell? No, not him. Do you know what I mean? No. Oh, I know. The Steel Panther guitarist. Just, what the actual hell? Now look, I can't help but have bias against this song because I dislike both bands involved. I don't like Corey Taylor and Slipknot and Stone Sour. I don't think Steel Panther are funny or good. Just... But you know what, I might be able to cut some slack if they hadn't, you know, put zero effort into the song. Yes, the guitar solo is different. It's not that difficult to change a guitar solo. A lot of bands change guitar solos when they get a new guitarist. That's very common. Is this good? No. Is it reasonable? Yeah. Would I ever listen to this version again, even if every version with Dio on it had been destroyed? No. No, I would not. Next. Now, Hailstorm performing Straight Through the Heart. Now, Hailstorm are definitely a band I enjoy, and Lizzie Hale is a vocal powerhouse. And they've done some very interesting covers, and their last album was very enjoyable. Strange Case of. I enjoyed that album quite a bit, and yeah, they definitely do good covers. I mean, Lizzie Hale on the Duran Duran cover on Adrenaline Mob's Omerta. Yeah, a good cover. This cover, though, it feels like an Olympic marksman was aiming to assassinate someone by shooting them in the heart, but instead ended up hitting a small kitten 21 miles away. You kind of wonder how someone so talented can miss so unbelievably badly. And this is for a few reasons. Firstly, in my opinion, subjective opinion, I don't actually think Lizzie's voice was a good fit for this song. I think there were better songs. She tried to adapt her voice, and it feels a little bit forced her performance, which saddens me to say, because I really do admire her as a vocalist. I don't know, I don't think this was a great choice for the band. The level of guitar work is reasonable. It's a bland, forgettable rendition of this song. It really, in my opinion, just doesn't do it justice. It doesn't come even in the same planet as the original. It's a million miles away and does not hit straight through the heart. Biff, Byford and Motörhead performing Starstruck. Now, on paper, this sounds bloody fantastic. Lemmy and Biff Byford of sax, and hell yeah, great. And singing Dio and singing Starstruck. Oh my god, all my dreams have come true. Except, really, the only positive of this is actually just hearing these legends cover the song. That's a novelty, but once that novelty wears off, I mean, this doesn't come anywhere near close to the chemistry of Richard Blackmore and Dio on the Rainbow Rising album. That song is mind-blowing. This song, it's not. It just... Lemmy's growling, snarling voice, I can't say really fits Dio songs. Dio's operatic voice. Yeah, it's different. Really, this is just a novelty track. It's saying you hear one thing, that was fun, but I would never listen to this again. Now, some people will probably be thinking I've been far too unfair comparing these songs, that they're not meant to be as good as the Dio songs. They're not. They're just meant to help promote the work of Dio. And you know what? I don't fault them for that. People wanted me to tell them my opinion on how the songs are as covers. And there's a lot of covers I do like, but I can't say I'm a huge fan of covers. But here's an example of a cover done bloody wow, and a band that doesn't often disappoint. The Scorpions doing Temple of the King. Now, this is not a song I expected to be covered. This is one of my favourite Dio songs, it really is. It's just one of Dio's most beautiful and heartfelt vocal performances, combined with the entrancing, delicately played acoustic guitar from Blackmore. It's just sublime perfection. But Klaus Meine, Rudolph, and probably the drummer, you know, couldn't keep his cock in his pants in the United Arab Emirates. How do they do? Well, as I said, they do bloody well. Now, considering how the Scorpions are one of the best bands at performing ballads out there, it's hardly surprising that this works, but this song suits Klaus's voice ridiculously well. It's as if it was written for him. Combined the interesting arrangement, switching the acoustic guitars and replacing them with the clean electric. The lead guitar, after the vocal melodies, works exceptionally. Just, I'm not sure which guitarist is doing that, probably the lead guitarist, who I never ever remember the name of, the Scorpions. I do apologise immensely. And this version, as I said, it's delivered emotively. It's clearly been thought over, and quite frankly, is one of the best songs on the album without a shadow of a doubt. They put their flair on the Dio classic. It's not trying to be as good, but instead, it does sound different, it does sound interesting, original. If only other bands had taken this level of care. And there certainly is another band who've taken this level of care, but unfortunately they aren't the next band. No, because the next band's Doro. And singing Egypt the Chains Are On. Oh, this is not one of my favourite Dio tracks, Egypt the Chains Are On. It's not. And Doro, I just don't even understand Doro. I don't particularly like her voice. I find her songs bland. Her voice ain't that special. So is it really a surprise that I think this song is fairly bland with a lacklustre vocal? No, it's not. Doro, I could not care less about Doro. She can do her own thing. Her fans, good for them if you want to like her. I just, no. What about Killswitch Engage? Wow. Well, Holy Diver now. That's a statement to be covering Holy Diver. It's a big statement by Killswitch Engage, and do they deliver? Now, I do not know when this was released, but I could have sworn I've heard this before. Maybe they performed it live or something. Or it could have been last year, because I knew they released a new album last year. Maybe? I honestly don't know that much about Killswitch Engage, but I know there's quite a few people who like this version. There's even some who prefer it to the Dio's version. Now, these people really should learn the meaning of the word seppuku, which is a ritual suicide usually for dishonored samurai, but by preferring this version, honestly, you have dishonored your fan, yourself even, as a metal fan, to such an extent that really you forfeit your right to live. Now, obviously I jest, but who the fuck wants a metalcore version of one of the pinnacles of Dio's work? Not me. I know what screams in my Dio. Hell no. This version to me is vastly inferior. It's annoying and a bit of an abomination. Still, I'll give them props for actually making an effort by changing the song up, so golf clap there. It's just a shame that it was awful. Dio's backing band of Glenn Hughes basically performed Catch the Rainbow. Shocker that Hughes would choose a Rainbow era song, considering he was in Deep Purple and so was Blackmore. Yep. Ben, defo the best Deep Purple album. Anyhow, and this does suit his voice to an extent, I suppose. I love Glenn, not quite as much as Dio, but this is a nice rendition of the song. Hughes' vocals work well, creates a lovely gentle atmosphere. The only problem is, it's not as good as the original Rainbow version. Again, I know, unfair comparison, but okay, here's a fair comparison. It's not even as good as Opeth's just wonderful live tribute, which they did. What a guitar solo that has at the end. Yeah, Opeth's version of Catch the Rainbow is the best cover of it, definitely. Okay, so Oni Logan, Jimmy Bain, and Brian Tichy performing I. Now, the best thing about this cover is, and this is an underrated Dio classic, and deserves some more exposure. I mean, why did Dehumanize the record is never talked about in the same terms as Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules? Surprises me. It's heavier, but still has some great riffs, choruses, and vocals. I'm a big fan of the album. Ever since I first heard it, it really just clicked with me. And this version in particular is meh, another meh song. I don't actually know who the hell Oni Logan is, but he tries a bit too hard to be Dio on this track. And that reminds me, why is he drawn on here? Or Yawn, however you say it. Like, he actually filled in for Dio at High Voltage Festival, didn't he? And yeah, I don't know, he seems to like trying to be Dio, so why he isn't on here, I actually don't know. Instead of Oni Logan, whoever that is, still, this doesn't do anything significant. It doesn't make, well, no, he just, no, basically, I don't have much to say. It's an okay version, but really, why you'd listen to this, I actually don't know. Rob Halford and some ex-Dio members, including Doug Aldridge, perform Man on the Silver Mountain. This was an interesting lineup. We have one of the few vocalists who is as influential in metal as Dio, with Mr. Halford. We also have some ex-Dio members, as including Doug Aldridge, who... oh. Yeah, Doug Aldridge was that guy in Whitesnake who did those two studio albums, which... I prefer not to mention. They upset me dearly, those studio albums. But they really do. Still, we're not talking about Whitesnake today. No, Forevermore will be another video for another time. Here, though, I don't like the tone of the distortion he uses. It doesn't really fit the song, and I find his guitar playing fairly lifeless, but Halford gives a commendable performance, and that's all good. Still, this song as a whole feels fairly safe, no risks taken, and... again, why I would listen to this as opposed to the original, I do not know. But here's something interesting. Now, considering Metallica's form as of recently, Lulu, and how safe Lords of Summer was, even though I enjoyed that song, here's a band who, well, I mean, I suppose they're not afraid to take risks. Lulu was a risk, alright. And you know what they do here? They bloody hit the nail firmly into the head. Metallica, seriously, well bloody done, because in 9 minutes they managed to sum up Dio's tenure with Rainbow by playing parts of Kill the King, Tarot Woman, Stargazer, and A Light into Black, and Metallica flow throughout these songs in an almost seamless medley that just feels distinctly Metallica. It's heavy with James Hetfield's sailor voice and war-laden solos, but yeah, it still captures the essence at the heart of these albums. It's very unique, damn epic, and a fitting tribute to one of metal's greatest men. I genuinely applaud their effort tremendously, from the wonderful transition from Stargazer to a sped-up, faster, more thrash version of Kill the King, which works so bloody well. I honestly cannot give Metallica enough praise for their effort, and honestly, it puts most of the other covers to shame. Absolute shame, because they clearly put a lot of time, a lot of thought into this. Well, I've heard they actually just played Rainbow songs for a long time, but still, It actually did sound different, and that's how a cover should be. Metallica and the Scorpions, they're the victors from this compilation, but really, the real victor at the end of the day, it's Dio. And fittingly, this album does end with a Dio track. This Is Your Life. Interesting song to include as the ending, but it was a fitting and lovely touch on the end of the album. Mr. Ronnie James Dio, the greatest of all the vocalists. And this song is definitely a more obscure one from the 90s, but it fits the theme wonderfully. It's truly haunting and poignant end to the album. A gentle piano melody with only Dio's voice over the top, singing straight from the heart. It's very different to his usual style, but the chorus builds and the lyrics send shivers down your spine as he seems to sing his own eulogy. It's a perfect ending for an imperfect album. I'm not going to rate this album now. It was created in good faith, as I said, with 100% of the proceeds going to the Stand Up and Shout Cancer Trust. So how can I slightly have any malice, any begrudging against this album when it goes to such a worthy cause? And also when it's the aim of bringing a new generation of fans to Dio's music. I genuinely hold nothing against this album. But is this something I would personally care to listen to? No. Because we still have the Dio versions. As far as I'm concerned, Dio will never die, truly, as long as his music continues to be played. As long as we remember him for who he was. For a wonderful lyricist with his obsession with fantasy themes and the voice. The greatest of all ages. This has been TheAIbumMan weighing in on This Is Your Life by Dio. And very fittingly, considering it's Dio's album. Long live rock and roll.